And welcome to the Sunday edition of Hannity. Just 2 days before you, the American people, vote for our next president, the FBI Director James Comey has announced that the reopened investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server is now essentially closed and no charges will be recommended against her. In just a few minutes, Newt Gingrich, Kellyanne Conway, Rudy Giuliani will all join us. Also tonight, Donald Trump is about to hold a rally in the all-important swing state of Pennsylvania. We're going to take you there live when he steps up to the podium. But I want to start tonight. Get out your pen and paper. There's a lot of information you're going to want to remember and tell your friends. Now, first, let's start with the FBI Director Comey. He informed Congress just 10 days ago that the Bureau was reopening the probe into Hillary Clinton's server after, get this, 650,000 emails were found on the laptop that was shared by top Clinton aide Uma and Anthony Weiner's laptop. Now, let's put this into perspective. The first time the FBI looked into Clinton's server, it took them almost a year to go through 30 to 32,000 emails. And now, somehow, they were able to analyze 650,000 emails in only 10 days. Now, any logical person can see that simply does not make sense. What about the fact that Comey's own agents say there's a 99% chance that up to 5 foreign intelligence agencies hacked the server and stole the emails? In other words, national security secrets. What about the fact that Clinton's team, remember, they used BleachBit to permanently delete 33,000 emails after Clinton was served a subpoena to preserve them? Are we really supposed to believe that all of those thousands of deleted emails were really about yoga, a wedding, a funeral? Oh, and by the way, emailing with Bill Clinton, who doesn't email? Well, what about the fact that WikiLeaks shows that the Clintons' own staff, they said they didn't think she turned over all work-related emails? What about that? What about the New York Post reporting that Clinton had her housemaid, well, obviously doesn't have a security clearance, she printed out classified documents? And why didn't Comey mention anything about the ongoing year-long investigation into this pay-to-play scandal at the Clinton Foundation? How dumb does he think we are? Now, as an American, you should be outraged tonight. James Comey, frankly, should be ashamed of himself. I know a lot of rank-and-file FBI agents are. Now, here's why. Let's start with Hillary Clinton. Now, she has changed her story on her server countless times. Hillary, in her own words.
The laws and regulations in effect when I was Secretary of State allowed me to use my email for work. That is undisputed. It clearly wasn't the best choice. And I take responsibility for that decision. I thought it would be easier to carry just one device for my work and for my personal emails instead of 2.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone. Okay, in full disclosure,
BlackBerry.
And a BlackBerry. I have an iPad, a mini iPad, an iPhone, and a BlackBerry. I believe I have met all of my responsibilities, and the server will remain private. In order to be as cooperative as possible, we have turned over the server. They can do whatever they want to with the server. I am confident that I never sent nor received any information that was classified at the time it was sent and received. So that leaves the 100 out of 30,000 emails that Director Comey testified contained classified information. I did not receive anything that was marked as classified. Director Comey said that only 3 out of 30,000 had anything resembling classified markers.
You were the official in charge. Did you wipe the server?
What, like with a cloth or something? No. Well, no. We turned over everything that was work-related, every single thing.
Just like she lied about Benghazi, she lied and lied and lied again and again about the email server. And by the way, it wasn't cleaned with a cloth. No, it was cleaned with BleachBit. Pretty much acid wash, so God himself couldn't recover them. Now, Hillary Clinton has tried to convince everyone she didn't break the law. But back in July, when James Comey went before Congress, he admitted, that's right, your presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton, flat out lied to you.
Secretary Clinton said there was nothing marked classified on her emails either sent or received. Was that true?
That's not true. There were a small number of portion markings on, I think, 3 of the documents.
Secretary Clinton said I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material. Was that true?
Now, there was classified material emailed.
Secretary Clinton said she used just one device. Was that true?
She used multiple devices during the 4 years of her term as Secretary of State.
Secretary Clinton said all work-related emails were returned to the State Department. Was that true?
No, we found work-related emails, thousands, that were not returned.
Secretary Clinton said her lawyers read every one of the emails and were overly inclusive. Did her lawyers read the email content individually?
No.
Just some perspective as you listen to the lies that Comey said she told you. Just the mishandling and destruction of classified information, they're both crimes. So what happened today? Was James Comey, was he pressured by President Obama's Department of Justice to reach a certain conclusion? Do they have something on James Comey? Now, reports have said that the DOJ has been stonewalling the FBI investigations into the Clintons. Or is it because Bill Clinton worked out some sort of deal with Loretta Lynch when they met on a private plane for over 30 minutes just before they announced their decision? Or is it because President Obama, he's directly tied to Clinton's private server? Now, keep in mind, the president lied also when he claimed he first learned about the server from news reports. But, of course, WikiLeaks debunked that lie, and they showed that he knew that Clinton was using a private server because he was sending her emails on that server. Regardless of whatever it may be, the conclusion is, of course, clear. Comey's protecting Clinton, and just like the abusively biased liberal mainstream media that we learned through WikiLeaks is protecting the Clintons by not covering this, today we learned that John Podesta thought top Clinton aide Cheryl Mills was against Clinton's running. Why? Because of her server scandal, the whole server scandal in total. Now, her own staff repeatedly said the server was a political disaster. We also discovered from a leaked email that Chelsea Clinton was apparently using money from the family foundation for all sorts of things not related to charity. Take a look at what Clinton aide Doug Mann wrote to John Podesta. Quote, the investigation into her getting paid for campaigning using foundation resources for her wedding and a life for a decade, taxes on money from her parents. And also detail what he calls Bill Clinton, Inc., an elaborate scheme directly tied to the foundation that the former president used. Why? To enrich himself to the tune of $116 million. And, of course, WikiLeaks also exposed how the so-called objective mainstream media, they're completely in the tank for Hillary Clinton. WikiLeaks uncovered that the Department of Justice, the State Department, and, of course, the White House colluded with the Clinton campaign over this scandal. We're also learning that the Clinton campaign had an agreement with Bernie Sanders, who apparently claimed to have leverage over the senator. Take a look at this email from WikiLeaks about Sanders. Quote, this isn't in keeping with the agreement, since we clearly have some leverage. It would be good to flag this for him. And in a newly released email, CNBC's John Harwood, he was seeking advice from John Podesta about what questions he ought to be asking Jeb Bush. There are countless emails that show reporters asking the campaign to approve and publish their stories. And, of course, CNN, they had people feeding the questions for debates right to Hillary Clinton. But you got dozens of so-called journalists from all the major outlets except the Fox News channel. They were all invited to eat dinner at Clinton campaign chairman's house, John Podesta. I didn't get the invitation. Now, I said back in 2008 that in America, journalism is dead. But it's far worse than I thought or anyone could have imagined. There's also an AP report that 55% of non-government people who met with then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton while she was in office either gave money or pledged money to the Clinton Foundation. And we can't forget about the tens of millions of dollars the Clinton Foundation has gladly accepted from countries that treat women, gays and lesbians, Christians and Jews horribly. Let's start with Saudi Arabia there. Anyway, here with reaction, the author of the best-selling book Treason, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, your reaction to James Comey today and what he has ignored up to this point. And we don't hear a word about pay-to-play or the Clinton Foundation or any of these things. So is the voter supposed to go into the ballot box blind?
Look, corruption, once it gets settled in, is like a cancer. It just keeps growing and spreading. So you have the Attorney General meeting, as you pointed out, with the former president in a very private meeting on an airplane in a very suspicious way. The very week that they're going to interview his wife, the interview itself is very weird, done in a way that very few FBI interviews are done. Then you have Comey coming out and saying, well, there's really nothing here. A firestone blows up FBI agents all over the place are enraged. It's quite clear that the political part of the Justice Department is sitting on the investigative arm of the FBI. Comey then, for whatever reason, decided that the discovery of 650,000 emails required him to reopen the case, which he had closed, by the way. And this doesn't count secondary cases that are out there that are ongoing already. But what's strange, I mean, I don't know what's going on in Comey's head, to be honest. It's weird. Nobody believes that the federal government is capable of taking 650,000 emails and reviewing them in 8 days. I mean, look how long it's taken them to review stuff over the last year and a half or 2 years. Yet suddenly, just to fit the Sunday before the election, they rush to judgment again. By the way, on a day when the New York Post is reporting that Hillary Clinton was using her maid to print out classified documents, which in itself is a violation. On a day when we're learning that Chelsea Clinton and her husband were apparently inappropriately using the Clinton Foundation resources, and that's Doug Band who's writing that. That's Clinton's guy who's writing that. I mean, this isn't stuff outsiders are making up. So you have all these additional pieces of corruption, pieces of dishonesty, pieces of violating the law. And in that setting, Comey decides that 2 days before the election, he should announce what? I mean, that there's nothing in the 650,000 emails? Well, I have a simple test for him. If there's nothing there, release them in the morning. I mean, if there's nothing there, why can't the American people see all of this nothing? Why do we have to rely on the totally flawed judgment of an FBI director who I think, sadly, and I say this sadly, is going to go down in history as the man who broke the prestige of the FBI.
Here, think about how profound this is on so many different levels, Mr. Speaker. She erased 33,000 emails. She made the decision to erase them. They wanted nobody to see them so bad, they didn't wipe them with a cloth. They acid washed it with bleach bit and got rid of it so nobody could recover it. Then we know specifically things were done. Again, these were under subpoena. Then we know it was on an unclassified, it was on an unprotected server. Now we're told a 99% chance 5 foreign intelligence agencies, hacked into this. I would assume Russia, probably the Iranians, probably the Chinese. The Romanians seem to be able to hack into things. Did anybody feed it to ISIS? Who else might have access to these emails? But isn't all of this obstruction and then the multiple lies to the American people? Here we are 2 days before Election Day. Can she win? Being a congenital, pathological liar? She can win.
Well, I mean, you have most of the elite media desperately trying to prop her up, desperately trying to overstate what Comey said today, desperately hoping they can shove her over the finish line. You have clearly, she's in trouble in Michigan. That's why they've gone back there. She's in trouble in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania. They're underperforming in North Carolina. They're underperforming in Florida. As you know, Nevada may be one of their bright spots. We don't know yet.
But Colorado seems to be moving towards Trump, right? From what I'm seeing in Colorado.
I was just in Colorado Thursday. It's clearly moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Colorado's moving towards Trump. I think, by the way, I'm talking to you from Wisconsin, and I've been talking with people in Wisconsin and Minnesota. They're both moving. I now think Ron Johnson's going to get reelected, maybe by a significant margin, and I think he may actually help Trump carry Wisconsin. And you'll notice that today Paul Ryan was very explicit in condemning the whole Hillary Clinton mess, and in specifically calling 4 votes for Donald Trump and saying everybody should vote for Donald Trump. So there's some coming together here. Between which matters
nice
a lot
of them to join the party
in Wisconsin.
All right, but that's a different story for November 9th. I agree. I saw his statement, and I agree. All right, I want to go over the path for Donald Trump to 270. More with Newt Gingrich right after the break, and we are also awaiting Donald Trump. He has a rally in Pennsylvania tonight. We'll bring that to you when he takes the stage. Kellyanne Conway, Rudy Giuliani will be here, and much more of the special Sunday edition tonight of Hannity.